I now want to focus on you.
Okay.
And you specifically, right?
Right.
I want to understand your Indianaut origin story, okay? So Rage Coffee is your third entrepreneurial venture, and you've had two successful businesses in the past. There was iDecorama and there was PosterGully. Not in that exact order.
Yeah.
So what has been the key driving force behind your push towards entrepreneurship? Was this something you wanted to do ever since you were a kid, or was this something you got into college, or like how did you decide that okay, I'm not going to stick to a 9 to 5 job anymore and I'm going to enter the world of 23-hour working entrepreneurships and whatnot? So how did you go into this?
Wow. That's a question that needs a lot more time, but I'll try to kind of condense it for you.
Right.
Try to focus on things that were game changing for me personally, that changed my path towards how I look at my career and how I look at my professional life. I'll tell you a short story on this. So I, when started out, I joined a company right out of college, and I worked there for 4 days. And I, simply asked my manager, on the second or the third day, if I remember correctly, and I asked him if I can get some more quality work rather than just copying numbers on an Excel sheet, which I was doing for, let's say, 10 hours straight, 2 days. And he grinned and smiles slowly and said, "This is what you're going to be doing for the next 6 months." Oh. I couldn't, digest that. And I, even without any kind of, anything, I just didn't show up.
I'm so sorry, I'm interrupting you over here, but I actually love Excel. And if my boss were to come and tell me that you'll just be working on Excel for the next 6 months, I'd be like, yes.
No, man, I love Excel. Like, I work on Excel. Like, everything is done on Excel, but I can't blindly enter data into Excel.
Yeah.
I mean, Excel is a very powerful tool, right? You can just build great business models and whatnot, man. Like, but for me, like, just copying numbers. So I was just copying numbers, right? So I was just doing data entry, right? So that was troubling. But beyond that, I think I always, I come from a family of entrepreneurs, so to speak. I had never seen anyone in a day job. I'd seen my dad, for example, work really long hours, and everybody in my family around me was doing some kind of a business, large and small and SMEs. To me, I think it came very naturally, even before I started to know, what my career should be like.
You've always seen people hustling around you.
Yeah, I'd always seen people hustling around me, and I think it came from there. But then I started something, back in 2006 when I was 16.
Oh, okay.
And that was when I first got introduced to e-commerce, and I was very excited. With the eBay marketplaces, and eBay was like a huge, kind of name. It was a lot in the newspapers at that time, and the power that somebody had to just start selling online. Anybody could become a seller certainly, and they could sell globally. So all of that was there. I started something in the arts and posters space, and I had to, of course, give my board exams, and I had to obviously, I couldn't continue with it. But then the idea stayed with me. I was very inspired by what the horizontal marketplaces were doing at that time. And, I think I just believed in the power of internet as a means to sell something.
Right.
And I think I just believed in, even at that time when I was very young, I believed in the power of, just being able to directly communicate with your customers, directly be in touch with them, and directly be able to supply to them. And I think that at some point it just connected with me, and I continued that journey.
Digitization has been a major enabler for people to start selling, and major enabler to actually people to push towards entrepreneurship, right? Because if you have the access of selling to anyone around the country, even if you've never met them, I think that ushered in the new era of entrepreneurship in our country, right? Between eBay, Amazon, and even websites like Shopify. Like, I think they've had a major impact on India.
Yeah, that's good you mentioned Shopify. I started kind of messing around with Shopify back in 2011.
All right.
Shopify had just launched in India. When I say they launched in India, they just had a payment gateway integration at that time, which for them, because they're a SaaS platform, they can potentially launch anywhere by having a payment gateway integration. And it took me around 8 months to actually figure all of it out. Would you believe it? Like, at that time, the payment gateway set up, and I did not even have a PAN card.
Oh.
So imagine,
Okay.
and having a bank account, setting up the current, setting up the company, and setting up a current account in a bank, and all of that took some time. And I remember it took me around 3 or 4 months to get the payment gateway setup done.
Oh, okay.
Imagine, and this was a crazy time.
Right.
Now it can be done in one day if you sign up with some of the platforms.
Right.
So that happened. Shopify happened, man. Like, Shopify has been amazing I think it has given so much power to young entrepreneurs globally.
Definitely.
And I think we grew with Shopify. With PosterGully, there are some quick stats that come to my mind. PosterGully in 2015, it was in the top 300 stores all over the world on Shopify in terms of traffic.
Right.
And we were, I think, the second or third store recorded on Shopify in India.
Wow.
At that time, we launched, I think, 1 year later, but we had kind of set up at that time, back in 2011. We launched in May of 2012. But yeah, we've been messing around with Shopify, and growing together, I would say, for so many years now, 9 years now.
The Indianaut Podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Music. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook to receive all updates on the upcoming episodes. We'll see you in the next one.